Today, we're taking a bit of a different approach.
Yeah, instead of juggling a bunch of sources, we're focusing on just one.
Exactly. A really powerful commencement speech.
hmm
And we want to sort of unpack it for you, connect the dots within the speech itself, you know.
See how the ideas build on each other.
Right. And look at the potential impact. Because the speaker's journey is, well, pretty unique. Famously left college.
Uh-huh. But then co-founds this massive tech company, huge ups and downs.
Definitely. So we'll dig into three main stories he tells.
Okay, what are they?
First, this idea of connecting the dots. Then, love and loss, especially around passion and setbacks.
And the third.
And finally, death, how thinking about mortality can maybe help us make better choices.
Got it. And these aren't separate things, right? They kind of weave together.
Totally interwoven. Okay, so let's jump into that first one, connecting the dots.
All right.
He starts with his birth story, being put up for adoption. The plan was for college-educated parents.
But that didn't happen initially.
No. His eventual parents hadn't finished college, but they promised he would go. So he enrolled it at Reed College.
Fulfilling the promise. But it didn't last long, did it?
No, that's the twist. 6 months in, he drops out.
Wow, 6 months. Why?
He just couldn't see the value, you know? It was costing his parents, like, everything they'd saved.
Their life savings, he mentions?
Yeah. And he wasn't seeing how the required classes connected to his real interests. Bold move.
Very, especially back then. So what happened after dropping out?
Well, this is where it gets interesting. He had freedom. He could just drop in on classes that looked cool.
No requirements, just curiosity.
Exactly. And one of those was, believe it or not, a calligraphy class.
Calligraphy. Seems random.
Totally random. Learning about serifs, sans serifs, typefaces, letter spacing. I mean, who does that? It seems completely impractical.
Like zero career application at the time?
None whatsoever. He just found it beautiful, fascinating, you know, historically interesting,
So it was purely for the love of it.
purely. But then, fast forward, 10 years later, he's designing the first Macintosh computer. And all that calligraphy stuff, it comes flooding back.
No way! How?
They built beautiful typography into the Mac, multiple typefaces, proportionally spaced fonts. It was revolutionary for a personal computer.
That was a huge deal. I remember that. PCs looked so clunky before.
Right, and he makes the point that, well, if he hadn't randomly taken that calligraphy class,
The Mac wouldn't have had that typography.
probably not. And since Windows, you know, kind of copied the Mac,
And maybe personal computers in general wouldn't have the rich fonts we see today. Wow.
it's a pretty direct line looking back.
That's incredible. So the main point is you can't plan those connections.
Not looking forward, no. He had zero idea in that calligraphy class. It only made sense, like, way later looking backward.
Right. So you have to, what, just trust?
That seems to be it. Trust that the dots, these random interests and experiences, will somehow connect down the line.
Trust your gut, your curiosity, even if it seems impractical.
Yeah. Trusting that helps you follow your heart, even if the path isn't clear right now. It gives you confidence.
Okay, that makes sense. What's the second story?
The second one is love and loss. And he talks about being lucky, finding what he loved early on.
Starting Apple.
Yeah, in his parents' garage, age 20. And just 10 years later, boom, it's a $2 billion company.
4,000 employees. They just launched the Mac. Peak success, it sounds like.
Totally. But then the loss part hits hard.
This is where he gets fired.
Yep, at age 30. Fired from the company he started.
Ouch, how did that even happen?
Differences in vision, basically. He'd hired someone to run it with him, the board sided with the other guy, and he was out.
Devastating, he calls it.
Absolutely. His whole adult life's focus just gone. Poof.
He talks about feeling like a total failure, right? Letting people down.
Yeah, like he'd let down the whole previous generation of entrepreneurs. He even thought about, like, ditching Silicon Valley altogether.
That's heavy. So what turned it around?
Well, this is key. Even after being publicly fired, feeling like a failure, he realized he still loved the work.
The passion was still there despite the rejection.
Exactly. That love for the what hadn't changed. And that realization gave him the strength to basically start over.
That takes guts.
For sure. And that starting over phase, incredibly creative.
This is when NXT and Pixar happened.
Right. He founded NXT, then Pixar, which, you know, Toy Story, huge animation powerhouse.
And he met his wife then too, didn't he?
He did. So personally and professionally, it was this really fertile period, ironically born out of getting fired.
And then the story comes full circle, which is wild.
Totally wild. Apple ends up buying Nextd.
So the technology he developed after being kicked out becomes central to Apple's comeback.
Exactly. And he ends up back at Apple, leading its massive resurgence. That's why he says getting fired was
The best thing that could have ever happened to me. Which sounds crazy, but you see the path.
You really do. The heaviness of success was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again. More creative freedom.
So the lesson is, don't lose faith when things go wrong.
Pretty much. Life hits you hard sometimes, but if you love what you do, that passion can pull you through.
And keep looking, right? Don't settle.
Yes. Don't settle for work that isn't, in your heart, great work. Same for relationships, he implies. Keep searching.
That drive to find what you truly love is crucial, because setbacks will happen.
They're almost inevitable, but passion gives you resilience.
Okay, powerful story. What's the third one? About death.
Yeah, the final story tackles death head on. He mentions reading a quote when he was 17.
What was it?
If you live each day as if it was your last, someday you'll most certainly be right. And he said it made a big impression.
So how did he apply that?
He developed this daily habit, looking in the mirror every morning and asking himself,
If today were my last day, would I want to do what I'm about to do today?
exactly. And if the answer was no for too many days in a row,
He knew he needed to change something.
yeah, a really direct way to check if you're on the right track for you.
He calls remembering you'll die the best tool for making big life choices. How so?
Because, well, it strips away all the unimportant stuff. External expectations, pride, fear of embarrassment or failure.
All that just kind of vanishes when you think about the end.
Right, it leaves only what is truly essential.
Yeah.
It clarifies your priorities like nothing else.
Makes sense. It puts things in perspective.
Definitely. He points out, we're all heading to the same destination. No one escapes it.
And he sees death not just as an end, but as life's change agent.
Yeah, like it's necessary for progress.
Yeah.
It clears out the old to make way for the new.
A natural cycle.
A natural cycle. And he connects it right to you, the listener, saying, right now, you are the new.
But eventually, we all become the old.
Someday you'll gradually become the old and be cleared away. It's pretty blunt, but true.
So what's the main takeaway from this? Don't waste time.
That's the core of it. Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life.
Don't get trapped by dogma, which he defines as
Living with the results of other people's thinking. Basically following the crowd or established rules without questioning them.
right. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice.
That's the crucial part. Have the courage to follow your heart and your intuition.
Because somehow they already know.
He believes they somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else, all the external stuff is secondary.
Trust that inner knowing.
Trust that inner knowing.
Powerful stuff. It really ties the three stories together. The unexpected connections, the resilience from passion, and the clarity from mortality.
Yeah, it all builds towards this idea of living an authentic life driven by your own curiosity and values.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, these themes really stand out. The unpredictable dots.
The lessons from love and loss, driven by really finding what you care about.
And that perspective shift that comes from remembering life is finite.
Right. And maybe the final thought to leave you with his closing words.
Stay hungry, stay foolish.
Exactly. Keep learning, keep questioning. Don't be afraid to challenge things or take risks.
Keep that beginner's mind, that willingness to follow your own path, even if it seems foolish to others.
A pretty compelling message to carry forward.